Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Priyank Sheth, and I, on the behalf of Student Alumni Relations Cell, will be hosting the session for today. Today, for our session, Ask the Alum, we have with us two alumni, Mr. Harsh Singh, who is a consultant at Accenture Strategies, and Mr. Arpit Burad, who is a senior associate at BCG. Thank you both of you for joining us. Harsh, sir, can you please tell us a bit about yourself, your journey in and after IIT, and what you are pursuing currently?
Yeah, hi Priyank. Thanks for the introduction. Hi everyone. So as Priyank introduced, my name is Harsh. I graduated from IIT Bombay in 2017. I did BTech in chemical engineering, and I was from Hostel 2, the general secretary. So I mean, we won sports championships. Currently, we are top two in cult GP. Enough about bragging. Enough bragging about Hostel 2. So after IIT, I went directly to IIM Ahmedabad. I joined as a fresher at IMA. I interned at Axis Bank in their new ventures division, basically working on venture debt, which is a new product in India. Uh, Post that, I got into Accenture Strategy. At Accenture Strategy, I am a part of supply chain and operations, but I have worked in multiple functional areas, including growth strategy, manufacturing excellence, cost reduction, throughput enhancement, and some exposure in organizational effectiveness as well. Other than consulting, I am also into running and cycling, and I generally try to go for a 5K run every day. So that's how I start. I like to start my day. So that's about myself.
Cool. Hi guys, my name is Arpit. So I also passed out in 2017. I was Harsh's batchmate, chemical engineer only. In IIT Bombay, I was the institute cultural nominee and cultural counselor of Hostel 9, Nawabo Ki Basti. We were not in top three. We were not even in top 10 as well. But okay, in my tenure, we were in top four, I guess. Yeah. So after IIT, I went to Tata Steel. I was operational consultant there for close to 3 years. Then did my MBA from IIM Lucknow. At IIM Lucknow, I interned at BCG, got PPO, and then so been working here for 2 months now. So yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Well, this is what all the students would love to share at least once in their lifetime. Okay. First, I'll ask our alumni speakers some general questions which we have received from all the students, and then I'll open the floor for other students to ask questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Without taking much of your time, let's start the Q&A session. Arpit sir, my first question is to you. As the internship season is round the corner, can you please elaborate on your internship and the preparation you pursued for the same?
Okay. So I would say the preparation part is on three fronts. One is on your CV. You should be thorough with your CV. Second part is around the technical aspect of the interview, and third is the HR thing. So these three things you need to focus on. I mean, I also primarily focus on these three aspects. The HR part is something which you can take later on. But so I interned with Petrofac. Petrofac is a engineering, procurement, and construction firm. Back then, we did not have this golden opportunity of getting into consulting firms during internship. But now, since you have this opportunity to try out multiple other options as well in your internship, you should definitely do that. And again, the focus would be on these three buckets only with varying percentages. For example, if it's consult, then your focus should be majorly on cracking the cases part. The HR component is literally lower, and making your CV is the biggest part. So yeah, I mean, for me in my interview, it was primarily a tech interview because it was for an EPC firm. Harsh, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so I think for IIT internships, if you are preparing for non-consulting, it is more about the technical aspect because the rules are technical and they generally expect a strong hold in one or two subjects. But in terms of consulting, uh, it is only about at the time of the interview, it is only about the case interview because you have gone there after your CV has been shortlisted. So now the CV does not matter. If you go in there, it is mostly about the case interview. You crack that interview. It is not, you should not focus on getting to the I mean, getting the answer is not the focus, but doing it in a structured way should be the focus. And the interview is the most important part. For consulting, HR cues does not matter much. I mean, they won't have any weightage at all. If you crack the case, you are in.
Okay, sir. That was very valuable for all of us. Okay, sir. Estimates, profitability, and market entry. These three types of cases are generally asked in consulting interviews. What order do you think we should give to these three while preparing for internship? And how do you think we should prepare for these?
See, when I was preparing, I did not give any order as such, right? So guesstimates is something which you can practice anytime without even help of any, without even without any interviewer with you. So what I used to do was, while sitting in class, and if I'm not focusing on what the professor was teaching, I used to solve some guesstimates that I can do on myself I can do by myself, right? I do not need anyone else. So whenever there was free time, I used to focus on guesstimates. And anyways, these guesstimates generally become a part of a market entry cases. So if a market entry case comes, you most likely will do some market assessment. So you might have to do some sort of guesstimate. So guesstimate is something you should have a strong hold at. But in terms of the interviews, the most likely cases that we have observed over the 3 years will generally be profitability cases, because most of the work these consulting firms also do is about the cost reduction aspect, most of the cases, right? So improving the profitability is something which is more frequent in the interviews. And that is somewhere the firm can also check how can you solve a problem in a very structured way. Apart from profitability, market entry, and if market entry comes, I mean, it will be the chances of market entry cases are rare, especially in IITs. We observe that they come more after MBA. During IITs, we generally observe it is more about profitability and estimates. So I would say, do not give any, if you want to give any priority, focus on profitability and estimates for now. Once you are comfortable with that, you can focus on market entry.
Okay. Arpit sir, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I would say, matlab, everyone should at least prep for consulting interview. The logic being that consulting provides you a bit of structure that no other interview process is going to provide you. Why I'm saying this is, for example, if you start with profitability, at least you know that there are two different buckets which you need to take care of, revenue and cost. So this structure thought process comes with consulting interview prep. So ideally, I would say you should start with profitability, because once you get a gist of how you should go about structuring, then you can start on market entry. And as Harsh said, estimate is something which you can do on your own, and this is something which you try to practice more frequently, because that would, and eventually that is going to come up with in your interviews, because be it market entry cases, be it some growth case, or be it a generic estimate question as well. So these questions are going to pop up. So guesstimate, you should practice more frequently. Start with profitability. Once you get an idea about structuring, then move to different frameworks, which could be, let's say, market entry, growth cases, new
pricing, and
etc. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, not just consulting, other firms also ask these kind of questions. So when I was in IT, I got into Axis Bank. They gave me this question. They gave me guesstimate only.
Yeah, and typically, as far as I remember, there is one round in which one guesstimate is there for sure. For example, either banks or FMCGs. For example, they might ask you how many Bisleri bottles are sold in India at this moment or in a particular day. It could be a question from FMCG. This might sound like a consulting question, but this is not. This might be asked by any XYZ firm.
Yeah, so it may overlap, I guess.
Yeah.
Arpit sir, what advice would you give to someone who hasn't started their preparation until now?
Okay, I mean, how much time do we have for the preparation part?
Yeah.
That depends upon this, right? I mean, if we have 1 month, I think you have sufficient time in your hand, because how I would divide this is, for example, if you have 1 month to your interview, typically you can spend first 15 days just trying to get acquainted with the profitability framework. Once you do multiple cases around profitability, then you can move to other frameworks. One is that. Second is, it's very important to have a good case group. I guess all of you know what case group means, what is the ideal size of a case group. So eventually, when you start prepping for consulting, you make case groups. And these case groups comprises of three people. One is the interviewer, second is the interviewee, and the third is the administrator. So eventually one person is solving the case, one person is giving you the case info, and the third person is just observing these two and giving you feedback. So this is how typically a case structure should be. And once you have done some 15 or 20 odd cases, then you start developing your own framework. And yeah, and that's pretty much. So 30 days, I would say, is okay. Start with profitability. Profitability, read through one or two cases, but do not, I mean, just one tip, do not read through case books. I did this mistake. It is not going to help. But if you want to read, just read one or two cases just to understand what is the line of questioning and stop it then and there only. There is no point in just going through these standard case books. The question can come from anywhere. This question could be a live case which a partner is working on. So essentially at the end, your structure matters. So pay more time on solving the cases rather than just reading through the case book.
Okay.
And ho jayega. 30 days are more than enough. So
More than enough. Right. So focus, as Arpit mentioned, focus on the case group, and you should reflect on how you solved and what you could have done better. That is something that will stick with you.
Eventually it's not going to matter. I have solved 50 or 100 or 1000 cases. It is not going to matter. Anybody, for example, someone can solve 10 cases, spend more time on reflecting on those cases, assessing the feedback part more, and then he would be a better case solver. So it does not matter. Number of cases is not the metric over here.
And also the cases will not come from the case books, because we all have gone through the case books. Even if we are, we are doing a buddy process, we do not give the case from the case book because we know we have done that.
Yeah, but everybody knows, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and there would be for sure some twists. For example, Harsh might be working on this cost reduction case, and he feels that this case is very exciting and interesting. Let me give it as a buddy case. He might give you that just to check how on toes you are right now. So the cases would not be from your standard case books. It would be a real life case. It could be a case that this person has made.
And just to make you feel better, these real life cases will be simpler than the case books. So don't
100%,
worry.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So Harsh sir, this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Being clear while telling your thoughts is something which seems to be very important while solving a case. Can you give some tips to have better communication skills in this context? Or like, are communication skills very important for selection?
Yeah, so communication is definitely very important, because one of the core skill set that you need is communication while presenting to a client also. You should be able to structure your thoughts well. I mean, there are two kinds of people who are very good at analysis but might not be able to tell that to the person in front. And that's where consulting adds its value. We are able to summarize whatever we have done in a very concise manner. So you have to be good at communication, right? It is the essential part. Now, I mean, tips for that, of course, so you should take some time. Definitely, there is no harm in taking a break if you're not clear on what to say. So take some, if you're not, so if you are confused at any point, or if you think that there are too many thoughts in your mind, take a break, jot them down, and then summarize it. Right, and summarize it and say it in a structured manner. Do not rush into things, right? And point out the insight. Just don't say any fact just for the sake of saying it, right? If also don't repeat things. So this happens whenever we are confused, whenever things are not striking to us, we start repeating things. Do not do that. Write all the things down, think on it, and if possible, come up with an insight. Or another thing, sometimes communication is very critical when you're not stuck at somewhere. You can ask. Asking something is also a form of communication. You can ask the interviewer for help. So even when we are working with the clients, the live projects also, sometimes there might be these SME that the client side also, whom we reach out for help. So ask for help in the interview. again, that is something which will not impact your performance in the case interview. So just to summarize my points, ask for help, write your points, do not rush, and do not repeat the things. And these should help you structure your thoughts, and yeah, communicate well with the interviewer.
And I'm just telling you guys, communication does not mean Tharurian English, okay? You don't
Yeah.
have to use words like flabbergasted and everything just to sound
Nothing.
well, just to, it is not required. As Harsh said, only two things are required: structure and be a good storyteller. That is it. I mean, if you are able to convey your thoughts to the client directly without using much jargons, because client is not going to appreciate it. They have hired you to solve the problem first. What is the root cause of the problem? How we are going to address it? And now what next? If you can answer these three things, that is what they need. They do not need big jargons. They do not need big words. So communication does not mean that your English needs to be very good, but what you are speaking should have a structure, and there should be a story. Why we are doing this, what we have done so far, and what is the next step ahead. So just be clear with that fact.
So you can use one trick which I have seen through. I mean, I've seen multiple people do. Basically, whenever you're about to say something, just take some time, think 2, 3 things, and then tell that I have these 3 points. So once you say that I have 2, 3 things, interviewer also knows that you have thought something and you are very structured. Okay, and you count these 1, 2, 3 things, and the interviewer will think, right, this person is not just bluffing around. This person knows that he wants to say about these 3 things. So just say 3 things, and you will think about these 3 things.
By the way, this trick is very helpful when you are saying you have 3 things in mind, right? It gives interview an idea that this person is very structured in life. Whenever something is numbered, right? I have 5 points to this answer, which means, okay, fine. Chalo, iske paas, matlab, there are multiple angles he's looking at the things from, and he has analyzed those 5 things, and that's why the answer is very structured. So take some time, take a pause, and then say whatever you have thought of in a structured way. That is essentially the communication part to case solving.
Okay. Arpit sir, could you elaborate on the buddy process in your firm? What are some tips in having a good case solving experience with a buddy?
Okay, so I do not know how the buddy process in IIT works like right now. I'm assuming this is similar to the other processes in B schools. So I'll tell you how the process runs first and how to make best use of it. So once you get the shortlist from the firm is going to give you one buddy. Okay. Usually the mapping is 1-to-1, or in some cases it could be for one buddy, for one mentor, there could be 2 buddies. So now the major role that these guys are going to play in would be to, one, help you in terms of case solving. These guys will give you mock cases, which you can practice with them. Okay. In most of the cases, this process is non-evaluative. Okay. I'm telling you, this process is non-evaluative. But to some extent, what you have to show is the growth part. For example, I might not be a star case solver in the first thing. Okay. I might not know basics to case solving, but I have to show progress to my buddy. Okay, fine. This is the first case I have solved with you. I do not know anything, but when we solve the second case, I won't repeat those mistakes. And ideally, because this buddy program is also some 20-30 odd days program, you should try to get at least 1 slot per week. 1 slot per week from your buddy. So at least 2 to 3 cases. 2 to 3 cases is a must.
Yeah.
And as Harsh mentioned before, case solving is not important. The buddy is not looking at what is the answer. He's looking at, okay, fine. Is the guy taking my feedback rightly? Is the guy noting my feedback down? Is the guy working on my feedback or not? So working on the buddy's feedback become more important. And the conversations with the buddy would not be around only case solving. Interview process is not the firm assessing you. It is about you also assessing the firm also, right? How is XYZ firm? And this buddy has worked in firm for 2 or 3 years, right? So it's a good platform to know about the culture, about what are the different clients the firm has, what are the work practices, what is the work culture like, work-life balance kaisa hai. For example, if you do not want to work more than 12 hours, just get this out pretty clear. Okay, what are the work hours like? For example, as you asked, right? What does your daily schedule look like? Ask it to your buddy. Treat him like a friend only. So 2 aspects to be covered. One is case solving with the buddy, And second is you can ask in general about the firm. And for example, people who are getting multiple shortlists from X, Y, Z consulting firms, and then they want to evaluate different firms. Buddy process is a good platform to do that. Just try to speak to different buddies who you are feeling more connected to, and then eventually make your choice. So,
Okay. Sir, would you like to add?
Yeah, I mean, so as Arpit mentioned, that buddies treat your buddy as a friend. So I generally take part in the buddy processes for MBA colleges, and so I get a variety of questions outside case solving. So I also encourage my buddies to ask me anything. I mean, I specifically tell them what to say in interview. I mean, I want them to succeed, right? Your buddy is there to help you to succeed in the interview. So make use of the buddy process. Ask him whatever you want. Ask him how to answer this particular question. I mean, you can ask him anything. They are not judging you. They are just there to give you feedback and help you crack the interview. Treat them like a mentor and a friend.
100%. At the end, these guys are your friends only. They want you to get into the firm, and they will make everything to ensure that. They will help you with case solving. They will help you with the HR part, how you should answer, how you should frame your answers in a better way. So they are going to help you out in general. So do not worry and do not think this process is evaluative. The major mistake which people commit is, okay, so there is this gap which I and the buddy have. I can't be open to my buddy. Do not do that. That's a mistake.
Okay. Sir, what qualities does a company look for while recruiting a consulting intern?
So, I mean, for any consulting firm, they want someone who is, who is good at problem solving, right? Now, problem solving, how do you demonstrate that through your CV? I mean, so of course, first part is getting shortlisted, and for that, your CV matters. So in your CV, the consulting firm basically will look at 2 or 3 spikes in your resume. Now, when I say why do they look at spikes? Because they want to see if you have been a consistent performer in your, in your career so far, and if you have done that in multiple fields. Because see, when you join consulting, you will be working in multiple industries or multiple functional areas. So they want to know if you can succeed in different environments. And that is the reason they look at 2, 3 spikes. So the spikes can be, you might be good at your academics, you might be good at extracurriculars, you might be good at sports, you might be good at some technical aspects also. So if you are good at 2, 3 things, that is something that they want from you. So, if your CV has these, 2 or 3 such spikes, you are good to go for the interview. Now, while you are in the interview, they are looking for someone who is a good problem solver. And for that, they are assessing you through the case interview. For the case interview, you need to be structured, as we have mentioned. You need to show that you're willing to get the information from the interviewer, process that information, process that into a structure, and try to come up with an approach that will eventually solve the problem. We might not solve the problem in the interview, but come up with an approach that will eventually solve the problem. Right. So apart from this, once you are through the interview on the job, 2, 3 things that the consulting firm is looking for from you. You should be good at Excel. Excel is the, I would say, bread and butter of our lives. So without Excel, there is nothing. So you should be good at Excel. Not very fancy formulas as such, but you should be a quick learner. You will be a quick learner. You would have demonstrated that through a series. So you should be good at Excel, good at PowerPoint. These are the 2 things that they would want from you. And if you have any other skill set, that is just a brownie point. Excel and PowerPoint. And yeah, that's it. And a good communicator, as we have mentioned.
Yeah, but consulting firms do not have a template CV. That these are 3, 4 things we are looking at every candidate. They look at every candidate in a silo. So for example, I might be not so much great in academics. I might not have so many PORs, but I'm a national level swimmer and I have so many ECAs. You are into consulting. You will get a shortlist. So what they are looking is that those 2, 3 spikes, which makes you apart from the crowd. Right. So for example, that 2, 3 spikes could be anywhere. It could be in dance, it could be in PORs, it could be in curricular activities, it could be in academics. or any in your PO, or it could be in your work as well. So that totally depends upon the spikes which you have. The next part which Harsh mentioned is pretty clear, right? Once you are through the shortlist, then what matters is how good case solver you are and how you are able to communicate in those 30-40 minutes.
Okay, yeah, good. Arpit sir, what points are important or better to have in a consult resume?
Yeah, again, I told you, right? There are no points which are, I mean, there is, okay, this is not like a marketing firm in which you have to have those templatized CV points. For example, have had a sales of this, was the marketing manager. They are not looking for this. What they are looking for is what sets you apart from the crowd. So for example, for me, it could be, for example, I was part of fourth wall team. So have done 3 to 4 plays, have taken my play to Thespo. So this could be a spike. Matlab, the spike could be different for the different individuals, right? So for me, it could be my PORs plus a combination of extracurricular activities. For someone who is a 8-9 pointer, academics might be a pointer, right? For someone, something as trivial as IIT JEE rank could be a spike. So genuinely, there is no templatized point as such that will guarantee that you will get a shortlist. At the end, they are going to shortlist how many people? 100, or what is the percentage of? Harsh, do you have any idea about the number of people who get shortlisted?
IIT mein to, I mean, so when we were there for the placements, I think they shortlisted around 25-30 people.
30 people, right?
Yeah.
So at the end, this process is judging you relative to the batch, right? So there can't be any one key rule that is going to ensure that you will make it to consulting. You just have to highlight whatever best you have done throughout your career. Just put that out in your resume. And the firm will look at all those aspects. For example, there are 4 different buckets, right?
Hello, Arpit sir.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah. So I think there was power cut. There was power cut in my place. That should have been the case with Arpit also. We are both in Gurgaon. I mean, that was the reason.
Back on, slide the switch on the back of the
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I am at my friend's place right now, and they don't have power backup. So
I figured that out the moment we lost your voice. Power cut.
yeah, cool. We can move to the next question then, yeah.
Are we fine, sir? Are we fine now? Okay. So since students are present here, now we can open the floor for questions. You students can raise your hand and we will unmute you one by one.
And there is no compulsion to ask questions, huh? Matlab,
Yeah.
it's all
See,
okay.
we are not here for PPTs.
Hello, sir. Yeah, I'm Naman Agarwal. I just wanted to know, like, I am a dual degree student. So there are now I will be moving to my 4th year. So as per our PT shell rule, I won't be allowed to sit for the internship season this year. So I wanted to apply externally. So I just wanted to know, like, in which, because I think BCG, Bain, these companies don't allow consulting interns for externally. So which firm should I try, or like?
So generally, consulting firms don't hire externally for the internships. They have these campus. I mean, most of the firms which have the campus program won't hire externally. However, if there are requirements, and for that you have to reach out to people. I mean, see, even for BCG bin, if you reach out to someone and they are looking for a person who has, I mean, they might be looking for someone at that point in time. They might hire you, but the chances of getting an internship in a firm where they have these campus programs is less. So look out for these firms where they do not go to the UG campuses for internships. You can look at, I don't know, EY, etc., EY Consulting, KPMG Consulting. I don't think go to the IITs, etc. So you can look out for these firms, but I'm not sure. I mean, Accenture, BCG, Bain, I'm aware that they won't hire externally. Burad,
But I
Arpit,
mean,
if you know.
yeah. So I think getting off-campus internship in a way is very difficult. The only solution to this is cold mailing. Just reach out to people in your LinkedIn network. Just try to figure out if there is an opportunity, and if it matches your interest, then and they do have, if they have vacancy, that is the only way out. Because consulting, if you also see, I mean, the problems are case based, right? So, for example, a case might be a 3-month case. So they might not staff a person just for a month or just for 2 months, because transition becomes very difficult. And they don't want to just train you for 1 month and then you will start then delivering, and in 1 month you are gone. So nobody wants to take that sort of a risk with a candidate unless and until it's a full drafted program, which is like they already have the internship program in campuses.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
And as Harsh mentioned, there are few firms which you can reach out to which do not have established programs. For example, one is ADL.
Yeah.
Second could be Dalberg. Third could be ENY. Yeah, I mean, I can think of these three only. So
Delberg used to visit IITs when we were in first, second year. After that, they stopped.
I didn't know.
They used to come, but now they don't.
And Dalberg is primarily into social consulting. So I think they might, I mean, they might get you on board if your profile is suitable.
Okay. So now we have our next question. Guys,
Harsh,
raise your
do you
hands
have
who
any
wants
idea
to
about
ask a
PhD
question.
recruitment?
See, PhDs again, see, consulting firms generally hire people who have fungible resources. They can work in multiple areas. Now, when you do a PhD, you have gained expertise in one particular area. If a consulting firm feels that this is sort of a skill set that they would need, they might hire you. But we generally don't see too many PhDs in consulting firms. There might be specific arms, for example, analytics arm of a consulting firm or some knowledge center where they might hire you. But in front-end consulting, a PhD is we generally don't see too many PhDs there because again, you have to be a fungible resource there, and we generally don't see. I am not aware about MBB.
So there are two tracks in consulting. One is the expert track. Second is generalist track. In the generalist, as Harsh mentioned, which is majority of the staff, wherein these people would be moving across different cases and working on different problem statements. The expert track would, however, be having people who have exposure to certain industry. Now, with the PhDs, the only issue could be you might not have that sort of a corporate experience, because in the cases you have to bring the business lens for sure. So if you have relevant experience, the corporate experience, along with your PhD degree, that is going to help. So if you have, for example, if you have worked in a supply chain sector for 7 to 8 years, now you are master of that sector and you have PhD in that. In that case, you become expert. But honestly speaking, I have not seen just with the PhD people getting into consulting, or people do not opt for consulting for that matter, because once you have done PhD, you also want to move to those organizations which are targeting only those problems.
The expert rank generally comes once you become a manager or a senior
Yeah.
manager, right? At the start, when you join as an associate or a consultant, you are a generalist.
Yeah, Meet.
Hello, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, sir. My question is how to go about preparing for consulting jobs in second year?
Why do you want to get into consulting? My first question is genuinely this. Why do you want to get into consulting in your second term? So I'll tell you, right? So we discussed, and Harsh also mentioned that consulting firms are looking for 2, 3 spikes, right? And first 2 years at IIT is a good chance for you to get those 2, 3 spikes in your CV. And how do you get those 2, 3 spikes? You participate in multiple other experiences which IIT has to offer. So, I mean, I would be very honest with you on this one that you should rather
Yeah. So while Arpit is joining back, so basically so second year, generally, as I mentioned, firm won't take you in second year, right? They have these campus programs, and these campus programs, they have recently started taking internship after third year. So they won't take you unless you have some good source, right?
I
Second
guess,
year,
sir,
hello.
sorry. Sir, I guess he meant third year internship. In order to get a good third year internship or a fourth year placement,
Okay,
what
okay,
should we do in our second year?
okay.
I thought he's asking about second year
No,
internship.
no. Yeah, so as Arpit was
If
answering,
that is the question.
start focusing on getting those spikes in your resume. Find out your areas of interest, places where you are good at, and just work on these rather than trying 100 things. Find out your 3, 4 areas of interest and work on them. And that way, the IT experience will also be more fruitful for you, not just for consulting. In general, you will learn a lot. And you will find find really good people in each area that IIT, right? So if you focus on these 3, 4 areas, you will develop expertise in that, and that will help you build your CV.
Somebody just mentioned just to be optimistic. I think Sophies are in the worst place because first yearites do not have any experience. Third yearites have realized कि
कुछ नहीं
nothing. There is some more maya. There is nothing which is fruitful which is going to come out. Second yearites are the one who are struggling always.
Yeah, but do not put your hands into everything. Just find out 2, 3 areas and work on them.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. So I want to ask that when you got to know that you don't want to go for core chemical and you want to go for consulting, and what was your first step towards it?
Arpit.
Yeah, once again, I'm just trying to figure out my Wi-Fi. I mean,
Okay,
I'm on
so
hotspot
I
right
will
now.
try. See, there is no particular. So for most of the people in IIT, I will be very honest. For most of the people in IITs, they are not sure by the time of placement what they want to do. Right? Everyone is preparing for 2, 3 areas. Right? Even I was also preparing for core chemical jobs. I was also preparing for consulting, and I was preparing for some other roles, whatever they can come. Right? See, we are there to do some degree in BTech, so we need to be good at that. Even if you go for IM interview, they will ask you questions about whatever you did in your BTech days. So firstly, you have to be passionate about whatever you are doing right now. And second, generally people don't have idea. Even if people are appearing in front of you that they are very focused, they have decided that they want to go into consulting, I am very assured they are not. In 2 years, they will probably leave consulting. So no one is decided. So don't get bothered by the fact that you don't know what you want to do right now. Just go with the process, prepare yourself well, right? Enjoy, I mean, learn from whatever IIT has to offer to you. And then when the time of placement comes, make a wise choice, which company feels right for you. Right? It's more about the company, more about the culture there. And as Arpit mentioned, try whenever you're talking to a buddy, try to understand them more about the company, because at the end of the day, the company matters. So do not make a choice right now. So even I did not know that I do not want to go into chemical by the time of placements. It just happens.
Yeah, sometimes just things fall into place. Matlab, you are not trying to look after those proactively. 70 to 80% of the people in IIT do not know where they want to land up eventually. And hence you run after 2-3 domains, right? There is no point in just keeping all the eggs in one basket. No? You can't just prepare for consulting. And eventually nobody knows also. Because this is your first job. Just try to get this. This is your first job after engineering. I mean, throughout the whole life, this is going to be the first job. Nobody knows what they're going to eventually like. So if you do not know, just prep for multiple domains. The prep process is also going to guide you that this is something which excites you. For example, consulting was something which was not at all technical, and hence few people like it.
Yeah.
With banking, you have an understanding of core finance. So you love it. Okay, fine. Finance is something which, so we can believe in destiny. Destiny plus hard work. Destiny alone can't be the answer. You can't just leave it to the destiny and don't prep for interview process. So it has to be a mix. So eventually the kind of shortlist which you get, the domains which you have prepped for, how did the interview process go on the D-Day? There are multiple things which have a role to play. But just do not target one domain. That is the gist. Pranav and
Hello,
Sanjay.
sir. Yeah, I had a question. So while you were preparing for internship, did you have any backup plan in case you don't get shortlisted in any firms?
Any firm as in what? I mean, there are some close to 100, 150, 200 firms which come to campus, right? Some 100 odd firms.
So I think he's asking about IIT, because IIT's internship program is
Oh, he's talking about the internship.
Yeah.
I was looking at from the final recruitment point of view. Yeah, so the primary view is that try to get the internship via the normal route. And the next part is reach out to alums. Reach out to alums, write cold mails, reach out to people on LinkedIn, try to get an internship. And people are ready to give internship provided you have necessary experience or whatever. For example, let's say if you write a cold mail to someone stating that you have worked in past on XX project, and this is how you feel alignment with the YY firm. So I would like to have an internship for 2 months. It often boils down to only one thing, stipend. For example, if you do not want stipend, any firm would be willing to take you. So
Just excuse me for a minute.
yeah.
Yes,
So yeah,
sir.
Pranav, eventually it's all about reaching out on LinkedIn, I would say, if you are not getting it via the standard route, which is the campus internship program.
And just a follow-up question. So should I be doing this cold mailing and all side by side? Yeah, should I do it baad mein after a few days? How does it work?
Yeah, if you have time, you should start approaching firms. For example, there might be, for example, Delberg or ADL is a firm which does not come on campus, right? So you can reach out to them on LinkedIn and you can express that you are willing to do an internship over there, and you have summer vacation or summer program from this to this. There's this gap, and reach out to the alums in the organization and your friends. Yeah, and you can do it side by side. There is no necessity that you should do it once your standard internship program is over, then you start reaching out to people. You can reach out now as well. There is nobody stopping you from that.
Yeah, I mean, so these cold email works most of the time. Just add some context when you're mailing them. Just do not, reach out to them that you are looking for intern. Just give a brief introduction that your skill set matches with what the firm is looking for, and if you do that, the chances of getting a response increases significantly.
Very right. Internship they do would be the right thing which you put on mail or LinkedIn.
Got it, sir. Thank
What about the work-life balance?
I mean, so work-life balance. I think before you guys had joined, we are talking about this. I'll use that quote once again. So I mean, once I asked an alum, when I was in second year, I asked an alum, how are your days? So he said, while in IT there are midsems and endsems. During midsems and endsems, we study a lot. In consulting, there are more frequent midsems and endsems. Right. To summarize it, basically, the work-life balance, it is not very good when we compare it to the industry. But again, there are the work hours, of course. I mean, the work hours will mostly be very long. You can expect 10 to 12 hours. Weekends are generally fine, right? And second thing is, it depends on how you prioritize your work. While you are in office, you should prioritize what is important and work on it. I mean, if you're more productive during the day, you won't have to spend time working in the night. So just prioritize things better, and you will be able to get a good work-life balance. I mean, I will give my example. So where I have been in consulting for 3 years now. While I joined, I was not very productive, and I used to work for long hours. I used to work all-nighters also. But then I tried to go for a run every evening. So that gave me a goal that I have to finish my work by 9 p.m. because I have to go for a run. That was one such motivation which helped me push for more productivity, and I achieved that. Now I can say that I have a much better work-life balance compared to what I had in the first year of consulting. So it's all about how you prioritize and how you communicate. See, it is also about the expectations. If you are saying to your firm that you are available all day, all night, they'll give you work. There is always enough work. So you have to communicate and prioritize accordingly.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're audible.
As a PhD holder, how to prepare for the consultancy jobs? How to prepare for the interview?
I think we have already addressed that, right?
See, even if you have a PhD, your interview will still be that case interview, right? For any consulting firm, the interview won't for any kind of degree, the interview won't be different. It will always be a case interview, right? They might ask you something about your PhD, but it will most likely be a case interview only. Sorry, Arpit, you were saying something.
No, I mean, we have already discussed about the PhD program, right? I mean, it is just like the other processes. Make a cut into the interview process, and the standard interview process flows.
Sir, I also received one more question. It was how to combine it or maybe differentiate it from product management preparation, consulting preparation and product management preparation. How are they different and similar?
Okay, so let's talk about the similarity part first. Product management cases would be very much similar. They would be also, for example, their problem statements could be something like, how can you increase the number of daily users for Uber? This could be a case for a product management interview or for a consulting case. But the difference when it comes to, for example, in product management, you are looking at more from the point of view of the features and the customer side of the problem. But in consulting, you look more from the business side. Okay, what framework to apply over here? For example, I can look at multiple levers, multiple strategies. You know, the business lens. Can I lower down my cost? A product manager would never comment upon the cost part, revenues part. They will be more focused on how can I improve the user experience, on how can I improve the usability of this feature so that more people come on our platform and eventually increase the conversion. So that is where the difference comes from. So I think the lens at which product managers and consultants look at a picture, that is what differentiates it.
Yeah, I think problems will be similar. It's more about the lens that you take. And secondly, also in terms of solving the problem, you need to be structured in both of them, right? In a consulting interview, while you are solving the problem, it is more of an interactive session. You are talking, communicating with the interviewer, getting the facts from the interviewer, and then solving it together. In a product management interview, most likely you will be communicating your thoughts in a structured way, finding out what factors would be at play here, and doing a pros and cons analysis of them. It won't be as interactive as a consulting interview. You won't get too much input from the interview, but again, you will have to solve it in a very structured way.
Do we have a product management club in IIT Bombay?
It wasn't, I mean, apne time tak, but abhi I don't know. And do product management firms visit IIT?
Interesting. I don't know.
Sir, my senior got product management placements. So
where?
Most probably it would be visiting.
Which firms?
Blinkit, I guess, which is Grofers right now.
Okay. Good.
Unacademy also.
Sujit is asking right questions. He's asking
the right question.
He's asking the right question.
Asking the right
questions around work-life balance, package, etc. These are the set of questions which everyone should ask.
Yeah.
So it depends, yeah. I mean, depends upon the firm which you get into, and I can't
generally
give you the
high
exact
growth.
figure.
We can't give the numbers. You can say that generally it is higher growth compared to the industry.
So it's better than other firms. Okay, I'll try to put this like this. Okay, it's better than other firms. One. Second is consulting offers you high growth because every 2 years you will get promotion. Every 2 to 3 years. And when I say promotion, that would come with a hike in the salary part as well, which would be some 20-30% number. So, but again, that totally depends upon you. For example, what kind of work life you want, what does the domain excites you. I mean, this is not the sole factor which should be taken into account, to be very honest. I mean, there are multiple other things. For example, marketing firms might get you a higher dopamine release compared to consulting. So just see from those other things, what at the end, what makes you happy, do that. So consulting might not be the answer to that, or money might not be the answer. Too philosophical, but
I think Sahil Sam would summarize it better. He's summarizing all the points in a good way.
And that is what consulting firms are also looking at, right? What is the end summary? What is the what are the key pointers? What are the key takeaways?
Sahil will be a partner one day.
Sahil will be a partner one day. Yeah, Rachit.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
you're audible. Go on.
So I had this one question. So we've been having pre-placement talks from various consulting firms like Bain, BCG, LEK. So I have a question for both of you. Why did you choose your respective consulting firms? Because all of the consulting firms that come, they try to, show something unique that they bring to the table or differentiate themselves from the other major consulting firms. So why did you choose your respective consulting firms? Yes.
Okay. So after the initial round of shortlisting, okay, so you will have close to 3 to 4 options. For example, if you have multiple shortlists, you will have 3 to 4 options to choose from, right? So again, there are multiple touch points which the firm has created. Based on those touch points, you try to assess the firm. So I'll tell you a few examples. One touch point could be the buddy program. Second point could be the pre-placement talk itself. Third could be engagement with the company's leadership. And fourth would be, what is your alum's feedback on that? For example, let's say 1 year into the organization, 2 years into the organization, what is their feedback about the organization? So you take inputs basis all these factors, and then you try to analyze, okay, fine, this firm is okay, fine, I want to get into this firm. Okay, so for example, in my case, I had BCG shortlist. So I figured out, okay, I am loving my interaction with the BCG buddy. The leadership is quite good. And then there are multiple other concepts which also come into the picture. For example, somebody will offer you an early interview at 8 a.m. versus 9 a.m. So these are multiple other things. Technical things also matter, apart from the firm's culture, because at the end, you are also trying to hedge the risks now.
Yeah, maximize your chances.
Maximize your chances eventually. That, for example, I have only one chance and one interview to crack, right? And there are these 4 firms which are running after me. And then one firm says, okay, fine, we really love your profile and everything. We are going to see you early in the morning and we'll take only one interview of yours. And if you crack it, you will make it to the firm. This could be a big influencer. And every firm has this or a similar sort of influencing tactic. It could be anything. It could be an early slot, or it could be, for example, making them talk to the senior leadership more often. For example, talk to my managing director and partners, ask them about the firm. So these sort of avenues the firms also provide. And based on all these inputs, you take a call.
Yeah, so similar kind of story. So basically, I had good interactions with my buddy, and even the partner who came to visit during the PPT was also an IMA alum. So connected with him after the PPT, had a very good discussion, and that is something which got me good insights about the firm, what kind of culture at the firm, how they respect the people, etc. And I mean, for me, I was not looking at a place where there is a very aggressive culture or something. I mean, I was looking for a place where they respect people, where there is a good culture. So these are some of the things which I got to know after talking to the partner after the PPT or talking to my buddy. So these are 2-3 things which influence me. And again, combining with the hedging factors, it's really maximizing our chances. Because see, at IIT, the process is slightly different. At IIT, you go into the interview, you get the results at the end of the slot. I mean, it would be still the same for the final placements. I'm not sure about the internship right now, but at IIMs, you get the offers on spot. So you have to hedge your chances, right? So keeping the hedging part apart, you talk to your buddies, learn more about the firm, and then figure out what is more important to you. Is a aggressive work culture important to you, or is a firm who is more people centric that is important to you? See, you will get to know about the people, and then you can decide.
Just a small follow-up question. So, like BCG had its PPT, but could you tell, like Harsh sir, could you please tell something about Accenture?
See, Accenture, so Accenture basically in India, they have 2 arms. One is Accenture India Market Unit, which is similar to what BCG, Bain are doing, work front-end consulting with the Indian clients. And then there is Accenture Capability Network, which is more like Deloitte USI, where they work with the global clients and they are a support team from here. So I'm a part of the Accenture India Market Unit. I work directly with the Indian clients. In terms of projects, we do similar kind of projects as what MBB are doing. At Accenture, you will find more projects that are into transformation projects. So when I say transformation projects, these would be your digital transformation or end-to-end business transformation. And while so these would be slightly longer projects. I mean, they won't be 2-3 months project. You will find 2-3 months project, but most of the projects would be slightly longer project, and where you will be doing the implementation part as well. For example, my last project, it was a complete business transformation for a auto player. So I got to work on multiple areas. I worked on their shop floor, improving their capacities. I reduced the energy costs. I also worked on their 5-year growth strategy, also worked on their organizational effectiveness. So in these, so you will find more such projects in Accenture. And again, the kind of work will be similar to what MBB is doing.
Got it. Thank you so much.
There is Sahil. Any more questions?
Yes, does anybody have any questions? Okay, so I guess the questions are over. Thank you, Harsh sir and Arpit sir, for spending your valuable time with us and guiding the students for their preparation. I hope the session was helpful for the audience. Following this session, we have more sessions lined up for students, where we have alumni from different companies like Accenture, Tata Steel, and others like finance and other sectors we cover. Hope to see you all there, and all the best to all the students. Thank you, sir.
All the best,
for joining us.
everyone.
All the best,
Always
guys.
a pleasure talking to ITB students. Yeah, you can reach out to us anytime over LinkedIn. Yeah, all the best for the process. Hope you all get good internships. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you. Somebody got H4.
Arpit on the road. H2.
H2. Chalo, guys.
Bye.
Have a good day and best of luck, guys. Bye bye.